Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick. Last week we had a look at Twitter goings on. I'm not sure it's something I'm going to do every week, but we'll have a look at it again. So yeah, I'm on Twitter. You might not be, you might be. Thank you to people that responded to last week's video and followed me on Twitter and retweeted many of the things. In particular, this first thing here, which is my pinned tweet telling all about the channel. Yes, I know there's a typo there, and which should be we are, but it wouldn't be my channel if there wasn't at least something wrong. So that's booted up there. If you haven't already and you are on Twitter, please retweet this because it just spreads news about the channel and helps it grow, which is the whole idea of the thing. Increase views, but the main thing really is to have a little bit of fun. So what happened this week? Well, on Monday, we put up Golden Axe 3 on the Sega Mega Drive. It's not a bad game. A lot of people said it was their favourite under the three. I prefer the first one. You don't get to control Gilius Thunderhead on it, which is a bit of a problem because he was my favourite character. But it's okay. I know most of the views on the channel go for ZX Spectrum and Commodore Amiga stuff, which I keep doing, which I always keep doing, and lesser extent Sega Mega Drive. I know there's a couple of people in particular get unhappy when I put up any modern day stuff, i.e. the Pinball, PlayStation 4 or iOS, but let me remind you that isn't instead of all the retro stuff going on. That's just as an addition. It's not something we do every week, but it just adds a bit of variety and makes it more interesting for me. So thank you everyone that's retweeted that Golden Axe 3, and as I say, any of the other bits as well. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's njenkin7nick, and I'll probably follow you back. That's fine. So generally I use Twitter to ease stress, and I just talk a load of baloney most of the time, as you see. It has replaced just going out and shouting random stuff in the street, so don't do that. In the olden days you just had to shout at cars and just be a mental case. Now you can just splurge it all on Twitter. Battery on my phone, I have an iPhone 4 and I deliberately won't replace it because well, I like retro stuff and it makes phone calls. That's the best thing, but the battery does go down quite quickly. Here I have 6% battery left on my phone. How long will that last? Probably not that long. I could recharge it, but that would mean getting out of bed. Yeah, so it's a big challenge really. You've probably had something similar to this with your phone, or even going to the toilet. You need to go to the loo, but you're comfortable in a warm bed. It's winter, the heating isn't on properly. Do you get up, or do you just sit there with a painful bladder? Let me know what you do in the comment section below. As long as it's not wetting your bed or anything like that, we don't want anything here. Now, I won't show the replies to any of these tweets because, although people have replied to them and it's out there in the public domain, they might not necessarily want themselves in a video. Unless there's an overwhelming response to say, look, put me in the video, then I probably will do if we do any future ones here. Another thing that's happened as well, if you're a creator, generally there was an uploader, which basically is a facility through your your YouTube logins to upload your videos. It's all quite straightforward. Every so often YouTube changed something, and first of all it's absolute chaos, and it's no different this time. I was uploading a YouTube video on Thursday, forced to use the new uploader, the old one's not available, and it was a bit unclear whether it was uploading or not. It did in the end. One page said it was uploading, the other said process abandoned, video failed to upload, and then there was a little a warning triangle. So I had to wait a couple of hours to see if it uploaded or not. That could have been a huge waste of time, but it did upload, but it took really a lot longer than I'd actually thought. This was a new type of video we were doing. This is a little bit similar to that. We might do another one on Tuesday. I asked you all, is the ZX Spectrum still relevant? I was doing a bit of window shopping, so have a look at that video if you haven't already. Always like seeing your opinions about stuff. But essentially I went on to the leading site, Amazon, and typed in ZX Spectrum just to see what you could still buy as a ZX Spectrum. Was it still relevant as a thing in a marketplace? And there's a bit of a mixed bag there. There's lots of books and various bits and pieces, but I won't ruin it for you if you want to have a look at that. Now, I use YouTube or Twitter mainly to catch up with the news, follow up on gaming news as well, because if something breaks, it does tend to happen. Or look that in the top right, my battery is quite low, but the iPad battery tends to last a lot longer than my actual phone there. This is like what I was saying before. Occasionally I put up sort of like a new type of video. As I say, it's not in replace of the retro stuff, it's just as a nice addition. Not as popular as the rest of the stuff, but you know, there's a couple of people that can't handle it. Get over yourself, you fools. Anyway, not you, those people. This was Lego Star Wars Microfighters on iPad, the iOS system. Now, I think it might have been removed temporarily from the store, so I don't know why. It is free. And basically, you control any one of a number of ships with a number of characters that are unlockable. And you're sort of like in a trench, and you must fly your ship without bashing into the sides. If you do, you might lose a wing, but you can replenish that. But you'll get a random wing. So basically, if you're in a TIE fighter, you might pick up a wing of an X-wing or something else. And in the end, you're driving some really odd-looking ship. Crash so many times, your ship would explode. It was a really nice game for free. You control it all with your finger, so my finger was getting a bit painful in the final bits, and I'd probably end up with arthritis. With the iPad games, screaming out for a controller, really. I don't really get on with the touch screen too much, but there we go. But for free, you can't argue with that. On Thursday, as you all know, was the general election. I didn't know whether to vote. I did in the end, but it was absolutely pointless. I live in the safest Conservative seat going. Mike Francois, yeah, there we go. I think he won by a majority of over 30,000 in the end. Yeah, but to be honest with you, where I live, no matter who's in, it's not going to make a great big bit of difference. As long as the street lights come on and food doesn't go up too much and bills are roughly the same within a pound of each other, then I'm fine. It's only a problem if there's no food in the shops and stuff. So the general election come and went. I thought Conservatives were going to win the whole thing, which they did. You know, I didn't know they were going to win by that degree, so I presume Brexit is done now, is it? Brexit is going ahead. I don't know. Let me know if it isn't, because then I can, well, maybe start harvesting food or something, storing it somewhere. This is a good idea I had. When I say good, I probably mean rubbish. You know Alexa or Echo Dot, which is gradually taking over the whole world, where you ask it something and it gives you the answer, but secretly it might be listening to all your stuff and feeding it to the Russians or marketing people. I just thought, could you take it out of Alexa and put it into a fully working Dalek? You know, those automatons from Doctor Who. I just think it'd add an extra bit of gravitas if the answer was from a Dalek, really annoyed, telling you what the time was and stuff, and then you went out rearranging all your shelves or something. I think that would be good. I think that's something that will happen in the future. You know, like you get sat-navs in all different voices. I think Alexa have different voices. You can put it in different devices. Or how the Dalek, there's a Kickstarter there I might go in, but Kickstarters, generally, if they're on Indiegogo, don't tend to go very well, do they? Well, the computer ones don't. The Vega Plus and, well, the Atari VCS, yeah, I don't know what's going on with there. Now, scrap that. Let's get back to the most serious stuff. No one answered this. I guess they don't know the answer. It's nothing to do with me not being very popular or anything. How many standard drones, those flying things, would it take to lift an elephant? And there's a picture of an elephant, in case you didn't know what one was in the emojis, and me having a good old think with no hair. So if you know the answer to that, put that in the comment section below. I'm still wondering. I did ask the whole of the Twitterverse, but no one has come up with a decent answer, because I'm just wondering how many to order to move an elephant over to Nairobi. It got lost, got on the wrong bus, and it's here. I don't have to explain myself. Oh look, there's more whinging by me about the uploader. You have to be a bit careful, because you could spend your whole life whinging about everything, because nothing would be perfect, but the uploader is a vein in my life, really. So with the new uploader, the new 2 vids now seem to be take twice as long. Sure, it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just my imagination. A watch kettle never boils, that kind of keeper. I've never understood that kettle business either. I'm off out to wrestle an alligator. That didn't go very well. They bit my arm off, but I managed to sew it back on again with like a sewing kit I got from a Christmas cracker from last year. Note to self: don't wrestle alligators or any other huge reptiles. In the end, I didn't tell you who I voted for, but I voted for the Alien Party. They said, well, they will enslave or eat 79% of the population, but can fix the traffic problem in the high streets. That's not bad going, is it? Because generally parties promise something, and then when they get in, deliver absolutely nothing. The Alien Party, that seemed to make some sense, because with less people around, there'd be less people driving, the population would be saved. Yeah, let's move on. They didn't get in the end. Conservatives won. Then we've started having a look at Pinball FX3 again after a little bit of a break. A few people were happy there. A bit of a niche market. We do a pinball review. playlist if you want to check that one out. This was White Water from Zen Studio in 2019. We'll go through one a week. There's 3 in the pack. So next week we'll look at Hurricane and then Red and Ted's Roadshow. Have a look at that if you're into your pinball or PlayStation 4. But again, I must super stress that isn't instead of the ZX Spectrum stuff and Amiga stuff, because that's what's the most popular on the channel. Now, I'm a big fan of Zen Studios. They thanked me for something or other. I can't remember what that was. What was it? Anyway, well, there's a bit of a conversation. I said I loved them, and they responded. There we go. So that's good. I like Zen Studios. Check out their tables again if you're into pinball, but they do other things as well. There was news recently that Mortal Kombat is going to become cross-platform, so I think they mean really between the Xbox and the PlayStation. But I was a bit flippant here, and can't wait to take on the current generation brigade with my ZX Spectrum. Hope there's no lag. Well, I don't think the ZX Spectrum can do Mortal Kombat. If there is a version of Mortal Kombat out there on the ZX Spectrum, probably a homebrew, then let me know. Now we're getting to most recent here. I'm recording this on a Saturday evening, so there might be some tweets missing. The Addams Family, that's a pretty good game, that. 128k, great music, but very, very difficult. I've been told to play it on the Commodore Amiga, so perhaps we will do soon. Star Wars is coming out on the 20th of December. There's lots of theories with no much substance to it, which was going on for years since The Last Jedi come out. But what would the reaction be if it turns out Rey, so that's the main character, is also Palpatine, the Emperor? The reason she was so powerful right from the start with little to no training, that is a bit suspicious. Luke Skywalker had to track down Yoda at Dagobah and do lots of stuff. And the whole thing just being a big plot to warp Ben Solo's mind, who's Kylo Ren. That could happen. That's as good as any other thing. Now, if that does happen, I want 1 billion likes on this, retweeted all around the world, and say Nick was clever. If it's not true at all, let's just forget it and pretend I didn't say it. Someone else said it, some idiot somewhere. Dangerous Garden on the ZX Spectrum went up well when time this goes live yesterday. That's what's called a curio. The ZX Spectrum did have lots and lots and lots of curios. It's by Czech outfit CV Software. I think it's one person in their bedroom, but for one person on their own it's quite good. Come out quite late in the day, 1988. Looks like a game from 1984, but hats off to them. Anyone doing a game completely on their own with no budget, big kudos for me, so I have to bear that in mind. And that's pretty much what's been happening this week. So yeah, if you haven't already, please retweet that or some of the games. I'm trying to make the channel grow, but we'll probably have another type of video like this on Tuesday about something or other, maybe shopping again like before, but this is just a bit of a roundup. And hope you're doing well on the lead up to Christmas. Until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.